Disclaimer, this is meant to be more entertaining as opposed to educational. Attempt everything you see in this video with caution. We are not responsible for your actions. The goal was to see if we could make an obsoleted 2007 iMac somewhat usable in 2023. Something you could put in the kitchen or den and browse the web with, check email, and watch YouTube videos. The answer is yes. And it's downhill from here. Hello mom and dad meet world. So we had picked up this 2007 24-inch iMac from a thrift store for around $50. It looked like it was in pretty good shape, but it was not in that great a shape. It was a little rough, to say the very least, but we thought we could do something with it with some of the parts we had laying around and potentially do a little bit of a system patch so this could run a newer version of Mac OS Catalina to be exact. So we went onto iFixit's website and got the pretty much general directions from there. We ended up picking up a Cobalt tool set. We actually picked this up quite a few years ago for only about $10 at a Lowe's. And that is one of the things that you see there that was up with this 24-inch iMac. We actually added the those felt furniture pads down there to keep it from scratching up the table, but it actually did not have any of the rubber all around there. That was actually gone. So I don't know if it had been removed from there earlier or not, but the rubber was gone. So one of the other things we were going to do also is upgrade the memory, but it takes 6 gigabytes of memory maximum. It did have surprisingly 4 in there already. It was OWC RAM, so really good quality RAM, and that is how you get to the RAM. That is a RAM access store. But we had decided for cost's sake, because this was already going to cost quite a bit, that we would leave the 4 gigabytes of high quality OWC memory in there. And we already had a 500 gigabyte solid state drive, and it was actually already in a 3.5-inch cage, and we decided to just use that guy right there. So between the RAM and then the other, maybe we could get a new OS. But then we thought to ourselves, we checked out the website. DOSDude1 is a website. Whatever you decide to do, just know that you are doing it on your own risk. I have not affiliated with DOSDude1. I've just used their software, and it looks like it appears to work very, very well. To get an older system, especially one that is very much so obsoleted, like this 2007 24-inch iMac, just to get it to be somewhat modern and usable. So we find out, really, is it worth it? Well, it depends. So we spent $50 on the actual computer, and then for it to be compatible with Mac OS Catalina, you actually needed to upgrade the CPU. So ended up ordering a $25 CPU off of eBay. It is a Core 2 Duo T9300, but in order to do so, you've got to take apart the chassis and everything, and we are doing that right now. So memory card slot, the RAM slot comes off, and then we are going to work on the actual screen. So if you have something like these guys right here, you could use these to remove the screen, but I actually got these a long time ago for another iMac, but these are just overkill. You could actually use that guy right there that actually came with this Cobalt tool set for only $10. Again, picked up at Lowe's, and you can just put that on there and it will actually pull the screen up. And it might not pull it up for the very first time. Maybe find a nice clean spot. You can see me pulling on it. But when you do get it up, it just easily will pull right up there. And once you do get it up, just grab that glass right there and just slowly pull it out of the way. And once you do that, you'll be good to go there to get access to the frame. And you can see here that when I did pull it up, I did bend that little bottom prong a little bit, but that's okay. You can just push it right back. It will bend right back in place, but that is when I was pulling it up originally. You got to pull up and then not pull back quite as much, because that's what you'll do. You'll give it a little bend, but that is okay. You'll want to take this, place it in a nice safe spot out of the way, and make sure you do not damage it or break it. So apologies, what you don't see us do is there are screws over there to the very left side in that cobalt case, and what it's got all the different screws that go around this bezel right here. So once you take off all those screws, remember where they go. We've just got them lined up there to match the position of where they are on the screen. You can actually just pull this frame right off there, but that is why you remove that bottom RAM slot door, to make sure that there's nothing else holding it in place. And what we're doing here is disconnecting the webcam. Yes, a 2007 24-inch iMac does have a built-in webcam, and you want to disconnect that. Make sure you get that out of the way. Don't break the connector. It's just a little pull-apart connector. It can only go in one way. And slide that out of the way and keep it safe. And once you do that, there's going to be some more screws around the actual monitor. This is where we're going to go into fast forward mode here and show you, but there are some screws all around here. And again, this Cobalt tool set is a specialty tool set, one like the iFixit tool set, except again, this was just local at our local Lowe's hardware store, and it had all the specialty T whatever bits, small flathead, small Phillips head bits, that whatever you need to get this undone, we were able to get undone kind of fairly quickly. And from here, we're just going to fast forward as we undo a bunch of these screws here. You want to give them some good force and some leverage as you undo them. Make sure you do have the right size, but let's move a little bit faster. Once we've got all the screws undone, we're going to disconnect the LCD temperature sensor. That is what I am doing to the bottom left hand side of the screen there. That is a prong, 4-pin or so right on the motherboard that just pulls out one way, and you'll see that coming right from the LCD. And so from here, we are going to be disconnecting the display data cable. So the display data cable normally takes some T6 Torx screws, I believe, to disconnect right there, but they're actually already not there. So somebody's already been here and they were already missing. So we were able to just pull this directly up. So then from here, we pull the LCD panel up, and then we get to another set of cables right here that needs to also be disconnected. These we had to pull a little bit harder on, but we're able to get these disconnected. So with the LCD pulled up and out of the way, you want to make sure you keep that safe. We are bringing our attention now to the hard drive. So what you're going to want to do with the hard drive is just undo a couple of the screws that are to the very top of the hard drive right here, like we are going to be doing. And so if you remove these two screws right here, what that'll do is that'll remove that plastic bracket holding the top of the drive in place, and then you can just pull the drive right out of there. But before you pull the drive out of there, if you notice, there's also a cable attached to the top held on by some sort of tape, and that is the hard drive temperature sensor. And you're going to want to also make sure you remove that hard drive temperature sensor as you are pulling this out. Apologies for the shake. We have got this phone mounted to a microphone stand, and then we have the viewfinder on April's watch right there to make sure we got everything in frame. But again, sorry for the shake as we are bumping that stand as we are removing this hard drive bracket right here. But off to fast forward land we go. But as we are actually noticing, not only does the hard drive get removed, but we also will remove the CD drive. Excuse me, it's actually a DVD drive right here. And we're going to put this again back on fast forward. There are screws all over this drive right here. You just want to make sure you remove the screws and the cabling all attached to this drive. And you're definitely going to want to, most likely, what I would do is record your own video of you actually removing everything if you want to replace the CPU. So a little note here, if you have a 2008 or 2009, I believe, that already has a T9300 or newer, so 2008, 2009 iMac, then you actually don't need to go through the step of replacing this CPU. But because it's a 2007 and we needed a T9300, we are going through the steps to replace the CPU, and that involves removing all of these accessories, getting down to that motherboard down there, which you will see it's quite a tedious process. And apologies for that hanging camera strap right there. That is actually right off the phone. But once you've got the actual brackets undone for that, you will remove the connector right there and track that on the motherboard, and then just set that aside as we continue towards the fans and the speakers. So on the right side right here, you'll want to remove the fan first, and then when you do remove the fan, that'll reveal the bolts to the speakers too. And you want to remove all the connectors that go along with that. Here on the left side, it'll be the speaker first and then the fan, and then removing and unplugging as needed, noting the position of the cords.
So I'm going to point out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws that we believe to hold this thing down.
So these are indeed the motherboard screws, the mainboard screws. They've got a silver ring around them, and then they've got triangular pointing arrows. And then you just want to make note of everything you are removing. So one of the things we will also remove here that you're going to see very shortly is the Wi-Fi card. So instead of pulling them out, we actually just undid the Wi-Fi card right there. And then you'll also find other miscellaneous cables that you'll need to pull off of this main board. Again, just take a note of everything you have removed, take a video of it, write it down, whatever helps you remember. But then you want to pull all these cables off right here, and then just make sure that you've got everything undone. And then let's fast forward again. So once you get everything finally unscrewed and disconnected, we are going to be revealing the actual underside of the main board. You can see to the very right there, those are the ports that are on the back. That is the heat sink and the heat pipes, and that is actually to not only the CPU but also the ATI video card that was on this particular machine. So you can also take this right here, clean it, move it out of the way as we concentrate on the main board. So we've got the main board back on the table right here, and we are going to be removing the heatsink. So the heat sinks take a Phillips head screw, and you'll just remove these with a Phillips head screwdriver. Make sure you have the right size, and you will just get all of these undone. And as you can see, even through this fast forwarded process, you'll definitely want to take your time. It did take us a little bit of time to get all of these undone. Some of these are a little bit hard, and you will just follow all of these screws right here. Make sure you are following everything back, and you will make progress by just pulling on these, and it'll lift right off, revealing, yep, all that older thermal paste right there. And it will just pull right off. I would suggest taking what we did was we used a paper towel with 99.9% alcohol and cleaned as much of that old thermal paste off of there. And you'll want to replace that with some new thermal paste. So what we removed first was the heatsink for the video card. Now we are removing the heatsink for the CPU itself. Once that is off, it will reveal the CPU right there. And what you're going to do is use now a Phillips head screwdriver and go to that screw hole right there, turn it, and that CPU will pop right up. This is where we get out our T9300 CPU that we pulled off of eBay, and you'll want to make sure you put it back the very same way, and you are good to go there. So from here is the tedious process of putting everything back from where you had removed it. Again, make sure you had done your own recording, photos, videos, whatever helps you out. But yeah, you want to make sure you put all the screws back from where you got them, and then plug in everything from where you had unplugged them from, and then put all the stuff back.
Alright, so we are going to plug some stuff back in. 3-pin, 2-pin, 3-pin, and that is actually to this, which we are going to stick to the back of this it's grooved, so it slides in there. And then that screws in. I guess you could say it clips in too, but it's easier to put it on that way.
So from here, we're just screwing that hard drive right back down, and then putting a little bit of electrical tape here to hold it in place. So from here, we reinstalled the LCD and glass panel and then gave everything a clean. A Duo T9300 Catalina installer was made on a 16GB flash drive. From here, you'll want to put that in your Mac, have it boot up. You'll want to go to Disk Utility, format the drive, and then reinstall Mac OS Catalina. You'll see it go through the full install process. It can take a while, but then after it has done the complete install process and it's going to reboot, you'll want to yank your drive right out of there and then have it go through the full setup of your Mac. Once you do that, you'll want to put this drive back into here and then do a post-install patch. You'll want to make sure you check all the boxes to do your post-install. It's going to have some weird images that pop up, and then when it does go into Catalina, you'll definitely want to just get those updates done, and then you will actually be able to run YouTube and browse without any issues. So all in all, about $75 in parts, $50 for the computer, $25 for the eBay CPU, and a SSD that was just laying around. And it took quite a bit of labor, hours of labor to be exact. So the big question is, was it worth it? So I think with replacing the CPU, I don't think so. That was a lot of labor, a lot of time that went into replacing the CPU. Yes, we did use new thermal paste for the CPU and the GPU itself, but that was an awful lot of labor. If you have a 2008 or 2009, I definitively think that replacing the hard drive with a solid state drive and then doing the Duo T9300 patcher, I think that would definitely be worth it because it would run much better with a somewhat newer OS. So there are trade-offs, but hopefully this helped you in your decision making, whether or not to upgrade or not. And if it did, please like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. Thank you very much for watching.